morning, everyone. This is Debbie Royce, Empire State Development's Corporate Secretary. I'd like to welcome everyone to this morning's meeting. Before we formally begin, I would ask that everyone please mute your line unless you're speaking. This will help us avoid background noise. As we have our directors joining this morning by video, we'll do a quick roll call before we get started. Acting Chair Hope Knight.
Here.
Hilda Rosario Escher. Okay, I do see Ms. Escher on the line or on the video, so perhaps she's having an audio issue. So we'll go on. Sherry Gleed will be joining us a little bit later. Cesar Perales.
Here.
Michael Rosen.
Here.
Benson Martin, Designee for Superintendent of New York State Department of Financial Services, Adrian Harris.
Here.
Thanks so much. Hilda, we just wanted to let you know that we're not sure that your audio is working, so I hope you can hear us. If you can, just give us a little nod there. No, she doesn't seem to be able to hear us. Okay, we'll give her a separate call, but Hope, you're ready to begin. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Good morning. Before I call this meeting to order, I will note for the record that I will serve as acting chair for today's meeting. I will now call to order the meeting of the directors of New York State Urban Development Corporation, DBA, Empire State Development, for Thursday, February 17th, 2022. I'd like to ask everyone to please mute your audio until you're ready to speak. Also, I'd ask that everyone wishing to speak, please be sure to state your name before you begin so you can be identified for the folks joining us today by teleconference. I'd also like to note for the record that in accordance with current legislation, this meeting will be conducted by video and teleconference. I will also note for the record that the public was given the opportunity to comment on the agenda items by submitting their written comments by noon yesterday. I'd like to state for the record that no comments were received from the public concerning today's agenda. As always, the directors have received the written materials in advance of today's meeting and are free to ask questions at any time during the presentations. At this time, I will ask the directors whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to any of the items on the agenda. If so, I will ask you to please make an appropriate disclosure on the record, and we will then remind you to recuse yourself from any discussion or vote with regard to such item or items. Okay, hearing none, the first item on today's agenda is approval of the minutes of the December 16, 2021 and January 20th, 2022 directors meeting. I'd like to remind everyone to please state your name before speaking. Are there any questions, comments, additions, deletions on either set of the minutes? If not, I will entertain a motion for approval of both sets.
So moved. Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Continuing with our agenda, we will now move to report section, and I will start things off with the president's report. I will then ask Ray Salabarios, ESD Senior Vice President of the Division of Small Business Capital Access, to provide us with a status of the COVID-19 Pandemic Small Business Recovery Program. We'll now move to the president's report. Good morning, directors. While we are still meeting virtually, I hope you're doing well. These continue to be very busy times at ESD. Yesterday morning, I testified before the Senate and Assembly as part of a joint budget hearing. It was an opportunity to discuss Governor Hochul's economic development agenda. My written testimony highlighted several proposals, including reimagining workforce development in New York State, support for our small businesses, investments to improve our MWBE certification and appeals process, and the $1.4 billion Connect All initiative to improve broadband. The hearing was also an opportunity to discuss ways of collaborating with the legislature and how to best maximize the public benefit of our programs and processes. Special thanks to Kevin Eunice, who joined me for the hearing. And my sincere appreciation to everyone across ESD who helped gather information for the hearing and play a role in implementing Governor Hochul's agenda. Now to share some of our recent press announcements on projects and initiatives across the state. Last week, the governor announced progress on her Bring Back Tourism, Bring Back Jobs initiative. As part of the initiative, a new ad is airing in the domestic and global markets, expanding the I Love New York's paid tourism advertising to overseas markets for the first time. We have also launched eligibility screening for tools for 2 of the initiative's grants programs, and we hope to open those applications next month. In the Finger Lakes, the governor announced that Baldwin Richardson Foods is investing $50 million to expand its manufacturing facility in Wayne County. The company makes custom food ingredients and will add 60 new jobs. ESD has agreed to provide a $2 million grant and $2.5 million in Excelsior Jobs program tax credits. In Western New York, Governor Hochul announced that General Motors will invest nearly $154 million at its Lockport plant. ESD's investment will support new machinery that produces a key component for electric motors, which will be used in GM's electric trucks and SUV models. ESD is providing approximately $5 million through the Excelsior Jobs program, Green Investment Tax Credit. This is just a snapshot of projects happening across the state, which would not have been possible without the hard work of ESD staff and divisions. Speaking of hard work, I'd like to acknowledge 2 staff members. Holly Light is leaving the agency at the end of this month. To say that Holly has been in the middle of the state's biggest and most ambitious projects over the last decade is an understatement. From Lower Manhattan to Midtown and from Niagara Falls to Belmont Park, Holly has been a relentless champion of projects that will have a positive, long-standing impact across New York State. I have had the opportunity of working with Holly before I joined ESD. I was on the Community Advisory Committee for Penn Station. I had the ability to see Holly's vast knowledge, keen insight, and universal respect across her peers. And so I'm pleased to have been able to actually join ESD and work with Holly directly. She's going to be truly missed. And, we look forward to her staying involved in whatever way she can with respect to New York City real estate. And also Marion Phillips, our Vice President of Community Relations, is leaving. Marion has had more than 20 years at ESD. He's played an invaluable role as an advisor, a problem solver, and a bridge between ESD and many local communities that we work with. I've had a professional relationship with Marion for almost 20 years. Began working with him when I was at the Upper Manhattan Empowerment Zone. That relationship continued while I was at Greater Jamaica, and I had the opportunity to work with him for a brief bit. Marion is one of the best in the business at what he does. And in fact, his talents did not get unnoticed by a certain immediate predecessor of mine. He's going to join U.S. News and World Report, and we will miss him greatly. So to the both of them, thanks for your dedication to ESD. Your skill and commitment that you brought to the job will leave a legacy here. We wish you continued happiness and success. And that concludes my report. Thank you. So, Ray, we will now have you give your report. Please begin when you're ready.
Good morning, Hope. Good morning, directors. My name is Ray Salabarios. I'm Senior Vice President for Small Business and Technology Development. The mission of the Small Business Program is to support small businesses that typically have the least access to resources. The program encourages participation from micro businesses, socially and economically disadvantaged business owners, minority and or women-owned businesses, and small businesses that did not receive adequate federal COVID-19 support. Interesting enough, the program grants generally represent a significant portion of an awarded small business operating expenses. And the investments has helped small businesses recover from the devastating impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. Grant awards from the program allowing small businesses across the state to cover costs such as payroll, rent, mortgage payments, personal protective equipment, utility bills, and many other expenses that is needed to day-to-day operation. To date, the program has received 134,636 applications. We have funded 27,694 small businesses throughout the state. Total dollar amount of applications funded has been $480 million, $680. The average grant amount is $17,356. Interesting enough, we are meeting our goals in that the folks who are receiving the money are the folks that we set out to help. Those with revenues are less than $500,000. So all in all, over 85% of the grants have gone to these individuals. And as you dive deeper into it, people with less than 100,000, the really, really small micro businesses, have received over 55% of the funds funded. Over 85% of the funds have gone to MWBEs. Over 40% of the funded businesses have been located in rural areas. And there are numerous funded businesses from different parts of the state. And so far, we are moving forward and continuing to fund new applications as we see them. Thank you, and I'll answer any questions as needed.
Thank you, Ray, for your report. We will now move to the project section of today's agenda. Regional directors and program staff are on the line with us today to present their items and to answer any related questions. Vinny Exposito will start things off with an item from our Finger Lakes region. Vinny, when you're ready.
Good morning, Hope. Good morning, directors. This is Vinny Esposito, Regional Director of the Finger Lakes. One item for you this month, asked the directors to approve a $2,500,000 working capital grant to the Rochester Downtown Partnership from the Upstate Revitalization Initiative as part of the Rock the Riverway program. This grant will support the cost of a newly formed public-private partnership established for the sole purpose of providing oversight as a management entity for these funds in cooperation with the City of Rochester for promotion and programming of public spaces along the Genesee River in downtown Rochester. This new entity will also be responsible for oversight of a new downtown business improvement district to provide long-term sustainability for downtown revitalization efforts, and the disbursements of this grant are tied to milestones in achieving a bid status for downtown Rochester. This project will commence with an advance grant from this $2.5 million, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
I'd like to remind everyone to state your name before speaking. Are any questions or comments from the directors with regard to item 2A as presented by Vinny Exposito? As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion for approval.
Benson Martin, so moved.
Second, Michael Rosen.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Jim Fail will now present an item from our Central New York region. Jim, please begin when you're ready.
Good morning. So the board is being asked to approve a $1 million grant today to Syracuse Urban Partnership, a $19.2 million project, which involves the construction of 84,000 square foot mixed-use facility in downtown Syracuse. This is a six-floor property, which includes the first floor is a central market and food court area. Second and third floor are commercial space, and then the upper floors are for low middle income housing apartments. I will entertain any questions.
I'd like to remind everyone to please state your name before speaking. Are there any questions or comments from the directors with regard to item 2B as presented by Jim Fail? As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion for approval.
Benson Martin, so moved.
Second,
Michael Rosen, second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Thomas Gallione will now present two items from our Mid-Hudson region. Once Tom provides both presentations, we will take separate votes on each item. Tom, please start things off with the Plant Powerhouse Capital Project.
Absolutely. Good morning, Hope. Good morning, directors. So we will be asking the directors to approve a regional council capital grant of $1 million from round 7 of the CFA to the Plant Powerhouse LLC capital project located in the city of Yonkers, New York, Westchester County. The organization completed its pre-development work on the site in 2021 and will be requesting disbursement of the grant. The Plant Powerhouse LLC was formed in 2015 to oversee the development of the Glenwood Power Plant project. The Glenwood Power Plant has long been a blight in the Yonkers downtown area. The power plant sits on 2 acres overlooking the Hudson River and the New Jersey Palisades. The company is transforming the former coal-burning power plant into a multi-use event and exhibition space, as well as an office and co-working space with a focus towards turning this former carbon-emitting plant into a climate change headquarters, attracting clean, renewable technology companies to locate there. The site includes 3 buildings: the Rotary Building, the Smokestack Building, constructed in 1907 and then abandoned in the mid-1970s. The development plan of this multi-phase project consisted of phase 1, pre-development work, building acquisition, asbestos remediation, interior demolition. Phase 1 was completed in December 2016, and the total cost was over $16 million. ESD did award $1 million in capital grant funding to the company through the round 2 of the CFA process. The company began phase 2 then in December 2017 and completed here in 2021 of December. Phase 2 included engineering costs, architectural costs, infrastructure and site work, including the installation of electric service. Additionally, phase 2 also included construction work, including new stairwell, safe entrance, security fence installation, environmental cleanup, and securing the building structurally to allow them to be ready for the next phase of development. Once the full project is complete, this $200 million project will create an iconic and cultural destination focused on climate change solutions, while also reactivating a long dormant section of the Hudson River waterfront of the community by bringing thousands of people to the city of Yonkers from all over the world. This aligns with the MHRADC's PLAY strategy, which seeks to enhance residents' quality of life and strengthen the region's identity as a premier tourist destination due to its scenic beauty and proximity to New York City. The project also aligns with the state's placemaking and downtown revitalization project. So that's the plant project, the Plant Powerhouse Capital Project. I will now move to the Town of Marlborough Milton Landing Pier, and then as Hope mentioned, we can take the vote for both after that. So the Town of Marlborough Milton Landing Pier project, we're requesting the directors to approve disbursement of a capital grant to the Town of Marlborough in Ulster County for up to $313,000 for a portion of the costs associated with the construction and renovation of a former fuel dock into a pier for large educational and touring vessels into the hamlet of Milton, located in the Town of Marlborough. The project was awarded Regional Council Capital grant funding through round 8 of the CFA, and the total project cost is $1.8 million. The Milton Landing Pier project restores a dilapidated deep water pier to active use for recreation, education, and tourism, providing a new gateway and connectivity to the region's many attractions in agritourism, wine and craft beverages, and arts and recreation. Construction on the pier began in June 2020, and the project was completed in September 2021. Images of the completed project are also included in the board materials. With this complimentary park improvements completed with trails, kayak launching, and open spaces with river views and areas for informal recreation, it will serve as a gateway not only for the Town of Marlborough, but for the entire region. During the peak season in the fall, 20,000 visitors come to Marlborough each week, mostly from outside of the region, to taste its wines and pick its bountiful fruits and vegetables. Being an economic growth investment, this project will now increase tourism and is expected to stimulate significant job growth in surrounding existing businesses, as well as new supporting business opportunities and employment. So happy to take questions for both projects.
I'd like to remind everyone to please state your name before speaking. Are there any questions or comments from the directors with regard to item 2C, the Plant Powerhouse Capital Project as presented by Tom Scaglione? As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion for approval.
I move the motion.
Second,
Second, Benson Martin.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Are there any questions or comments from the directors with regard to item 2D, the Town of Marlborough Milton Landing Pier Capital Project, also as presented by Tom Scaglione? As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion.
So
I move
moved.
the motion. I
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Jill Taswell and Steve Gold will now present two items from our New York City region. And again, once both of those presentations have been provided, we will take separate votes on each item. Joe, please begin with the Covenant House building project.
Thank you and good morning. This is a request for approval of a $2 million capital grant for Covenant House in connection with the construction of its new 80,000 square foot multi-purpose building located at 460 West 41st Street, in Manhattan, the site of its former building. This project was designated as a priority by the New York City Regional Council in REDC Round 8, as it is in alignment with state and regional strategies for the Opportunity Agenda and workforce development. Covenant House, founded in 1972 and the largest charity in the Americas, provides shelter, food, immediate crisis care, and other services to homeless, trafficked, and runaway youth. The new building, which will serve 1,700 homeless youth per year, has a cost of $62.6 million and will include Covenant House administrative headquarters, a residential shelter, a health and wellness program, and its case management and legal services areas. The new building will also house CovWorks, an education and workforce development program which provides high school equivalency prep, job readiness training, and employment placement for young adults residing in its transitional housing programs. Covenant House also has longstanding relationships with CUNY, SUNY, Fordham University, Columbia, and offers full scholarship opportunities available to youth ready to engage in higher education. In addition, its vocational training programs ready youth for careers in nursing assistance, security, cosmetology, and the culinary industry. As a result of the project, Covenant House is expected to retain 236 existing jobs and create 25 new jobs. It has already created 18 new jobs. The project was completed in November 2021, and the organization has met the milestones necessary to receive its first two disbursements, totaling $1.5 million. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve, you can go ahead.
Good morning and thank you. I'm Steve Gold. I'm a Vice President of Industry Development in our Strategic Business Division. I'm pleased to present this morning a request for a $600,000 increase to an existing JetBlue New York co-marketing grant originally approved by the directors on May 23, 2011. The original $1 million marketing grant was awarded to JetBlue in 2010 as part of a broad marketing partnership that also included the launch of the co-branded I Love New York JetBlue trademark under license from New York State. These marketing funds are available to JetBlue for activities approved by ESD that boost tourism in New York State. The initiatives ESD supported include digital and out-of-home advertising campaigns promoting travel to New York destinations, as well as marketing at events and festivals that highlight New York's food and craft beverage offerings. Out of the original $1 million grant, over $612,000 has been spent on ESD-approved marketing initiatives. This is in addition to JetBlue's ongoing self-funded marketing efforts that regularly promote travel to New York. Last August, JetBlue announced its plans to significantly expand at JFK by investing with its development partners in a new Terminal 6, as well as to recommit to maintaining its headquarters in Queens. This set of developments provided us with an opportunity to reinvigorate our tourism marketing efforts at JFK to promote travel to upstate. According to data from the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey, in 2019, nearly 15 million JFK passengers passed through JetBlue's Terminal 5. This is a prime opportunity for the state's tourism division to encourage both first-time and repeat travel from residents and visitors alike to the entirety of New York State using JetBlue's intrastate routes. The $600,000 in proposed new marketing funds, together with $387,000 remaining from the original grant, will help rebrand the highly trafficked JetBlue Terminal 5 Skywalk. Our funding will go towards developing new New York State tourism imagery, messaging, and marketing elements. ESD will work with JetBlue to develop mutually agreed upon designs, all of which require our approval. Because the objective of this marketing initiative project remains the same as in the originally approved 2011 board item, we propose reflecting these changes in an amendment to the December 6, 2011 grant disbursement agreement. Specifically, the amendments include increasing the grant amount by $600,000 and restricting the funds to the JFK Skywalk rebranding project. Thank you for your consideration, and I welcome any questions you may have.
I'd like to remind everyone to state your name before speaking. Are there any questions or comments for the directors with regard to item 2E, the Covenant House building project as presented by Joe Tazwell?
Yes, this is Cesar Morales. I have a comment, not a question. A reference was made to SUNY working with Covenant House, which it does. I am the vice chair of the Board of Trustees of SUNY, and I want the record to show that, and that I will recuse myself, even though I don't think it's necessary, but I am recusing myself on this vote.
Thank you, as noted. As we noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion for approval.
I move the motion. This is Hilda.
Second, Michael Rosen.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Are there any questions or comments from the directors with regard to item 2F related to the JetBlue Airways Working Capital Project as presented by Steve Gold? As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion for approval.
Moved, Michael Rosen.
Second,
Benson Martin.
all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Kara Longworth will now present an item from our Long Island region. Kara, please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Hope, and good morning, directors. We're asking the directors this morning to approve a regional capital grant of up to $1.5 million to Rose Breslin Associates, LLC, to pay for a portion of the construction of infrastructure necessary to support a large mixed-use development in Yaphank, which is in Suffolk County. This is a multi-phase project, and the second phase of this project, which is known as the Boulevard. The second phase, it was a total project cost of $92 million, and the infrastructure alone that this grant supports was $13 million. This was a round 4 priority project for the Long Island Regional Economic Development Council. The same developer received a round 3 regional council grant as well for the first phase of this project. This project is consistent with the regional council's strategy to create walkable communities and to create a diverse housing stock, including rentals and affordable units, to retain and attract a workforce, particularly near employment centers, which in this instance is Brookhaven National Lab. Rose Breslin is a private real estate company that undertook to create this mixed-use development on 322 acres of blighted and underutilized property. When this multi-phase project is complete, there will be over 900 housing units, 300,000 square foot retail, 146 suite hotel, 118 bed assisted living facility, and a 7-acre park with a 3,000 square foot community center, which was dedicated to the town of Brookhaven. The necessary infrastructure in this phase 2 to support this project included a 450,000 gallon per day sewer treatment plant, which is completed and serves not only this project, but the surrounding community as well. Also several roadways, including an emergency access road for fire access, a connector road to the highways, and the boulevard that runs throughout the whole community. The phase 2 projects are done, and this grant is ready for disbursement.
I'd like to remind everyone to state your name before speaking. Are there any questions or comments from the directors with regard to item 2G as presented by Carol Longworth? As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion.
So moved, Benson Martin.
Second, Hilda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. We will next have the active direction of grant items, which will be presented by Simone Bethune. Simone, please begin when you're ready.
Thank you and good morning. My name is Simone Bethune, a project manager with Loans and Grants. The first item I'm presenting to the directors is a $670,000 local assistance award made available to the Research Foundation for SUNY Stony Brook University in the New York State budget fiscal year 2020-2021 at the direction of State Assemblyman Stephen C. Engelbright of the 4th District of the New York Assembly. Established in 1951, SBU is an educational corporation that administers externally funded contracts and grants for and on behalf of the State University of New York. SBU completed an ESD application in August 2021, which was subsequently reviewed by ESD staff and approved to move forward. Funding provided under this grant will support activities related to maintaining National Cancer Institute designation for the Stony Brook Cancer Center. The NCI has established constantly evolving guidelines that must be met in order for a center to achieve this status or seek renewal of existing status. Grant funds will support key recruitments in leadership positions that will allow for the expansion of the cancer prevention and control program, community outreach and engagement activities, and further development of both clinical and basic research programs. The grantee has initiated these programs and has met the required milestones to be eligible to seek board approval. Therefore, we request the board's authorization to make this grant. The second item is sorry.
No, you can go ahead, yes.
Okay. The second item is a $500,000 grant to Brooklyn Alliance Incorporated, the development partner of the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. This local assistance grant was initiated in the New York State budget in fiscal year 2020-2021 at the direction of the New York State Assembly Brooklyn delegation. The Brooklyn Alliance completed an ESD application in December 2021, which was subsequently reviewed by ESD staff and approved to move forward. Each year, the Brooklyn Alliance serves over 10,000 businesses and individuals in the borough through a targeted portfolio of programs that include business development and assistance, workforce development, healthcare, and tourism. Funds will be used to bring a delegation of 6 New York manufacturers to the 2022 Winter Fancy Food Show, which will be held in Las Vegas in February 2022. The show, which attracts buyers and distributors locally, nationally, and internationally, will allow the 6 New York manufacturers to display and promote their products and to network. Additionally, in partnership with various neighborhood organizations such as the Bedford-Stuyvesant Restoration, the Brooklyn Navy Yard, and Bridge Street Development Corporation, the Alliance held a series of career fairs in Central, East, and South Brooklyn in order to encourage local small businesses to hire directly from the community. The grantee has initiated these programs and has met the required milestones to be eligible to seek board approval, and we are requesting the board's authorization to make this grant. I can take any questions.
I'd like to remind everybody to please state your name before speaking. Are there any questions, comments from the directors with regard to item 3A as presented by Simone Bethune?
Again, this is Cesar Perales. That money is going to the Stony Brook Research Foundation, part of the State University of New York. And again, for the record, I'm going to recuse myself. I'm vice chair of the SUNY Board of Trustees.
Thank you. As noted for the record. And as noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion.
So moved, Benson Martin.
Second, Hilda.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Doug McPherson will now present an item related to the Utica Crescent mixed-use project for our consideration. Doug, please begin when you're ready. Doug? We'll come back to this item. Next, we have 4 New York Ventures investment items, which will be presented by Momo B, Jonathan Green, and Jennifer Teagan. After all investments are presented, we will take a vote on each item. So Momo, please begin with the investment presentation.
Thank you, Hope. Good morning, directors. I am Momo B. I'm a senior director on the New York Ventures team. We're asking the directors to approve a $3 million investment in an $50 million Series B financing into company Ellevest. Ellevest is the first robo-advising investment and financial literacy digital platform built primarily for women to achieve their financial wellness. Women currently control $5 trillion U.S. wealth, and by 2030, American women are expected to control about $30 trillion in financial assets. However, women have been underserved by the financial services industry. The average female investor keeps 71% of her portfolio in cash. 75% of women under 40 do not have a financial advisor, while 67% feel misunderstood by their financial advisor. If a woman and her husband have a joint financial advisor, she leaves that advisor in the year of her husband's death at a rate of 70 to 90%. Ellevest was founded to tackle this problem head on. It has built a platform for women by women that offers a series of financial solutions, financial literacy programs, and coaching that reflects the women themselves and motivate them to engage with their money. Ellevest is the only investment platform with goals-based financial planning designed for women and take women's unique financial planning needs into consideration to build its algorithm. Unique elements in the algorithm for women include a gender pay gap, outliving their partners by the average of 7 years, having higher interest rates for loans, and feeling less confident about investing, therefore needing more one-on-one coaching. Ellevest provides the financial products, exclusive content, financial literacy, individual and group coaching, and investment advice based on women's needs. In order to fund this activity over the next 12 to 18 months, Ellevest is raising up to $50 million in a Series B financing. New York Ventures will invest up to $3 million into the round, with the balance being provided by private sector investors led by BMO Financial Corp and Contour Ventures. Other investors in the company include Pivotal Ventures, which is Melinda French Gates Fund, Khosla Ventures, Morningstar, PayPal Ventures, Salesforce Ventures, and MasterCard, along with some well-known angel investors. As part of the due diligence process, New York Ventures staff and an external investment advisory committee evaluated the company's business plan and growth prospects, as well as the terms of the investment outlined in Schedule A. As a result of that analysis, New York Ventures and the investment committee both agree that the market opportunity and growth potential offered by Ellevest warrants an investment from the fund and recommend its approval. Happy to answer any questions.
We're going to move on to Jonathan, and we'll ask questions at the end.
Thank you.
Good morning, Hope. Good morning, directors. This is Jonathan Green, also a senior director with the New York Ventures investment team. I'm here to present 2 proposed investments. The first as a follow-on investment of $500,000 in a convertible note round in Echo Stinger Inc. Echo Stinger designs and manufactures aerodynamic products for the trucking industry. Their first product is an undermounted fairing, which attaches to the undercarriage of trailers used to transport goods on our nation's highways. The product enables fleet owners to realize improved fuel economy by at least 5%, much higher in current testing, and also meets an important standard by the California Air Resources Board, or CARB. The Stinger also demonstrates greater stability during operations compared with competing products and protects the undercarriage and brake lines from damage. The company will be launching sales of their second generation product in 2022, which I should say has already happened, with a third version for smaller pup trailers later in 2022. The company currently employs 10 people in Rochester and is going to be adding sales and marketing staff to deal with a backlog of orders in 2022. This round is focused on recapitalizing the company post a significant sales disruption due to COVID. They've hired a new CEO and have streamlined their organization to meet 2022 and beyond sales goals. As a part of the due diligence process, our team at New York Ventures and the External Investment Advisory Committee, or IAC, evaluated the company's business plan and prospects for growth. This information is outlined in Schedule A of the attached memo. As a result of this analysis, New York Venture staff and the Investment Advisory Committee both agree that there is a worthy growth opportunity, market and growth opportunity for New York State and the company, and it warrants further investment by New York Ventures. The second company I'm going to present is Facerius Therapeutics, Inc. Facerius, we are seeking approval for a $750,000 investment in a convertible debt round. Facerius Therapeutics was founded in 2015 as a spinout from Weill Cornell Medical Center by Dr. Jason Spector, who is the original inventor on their technology, which addresses the underlying challenges associated with healing full thickness skin wounds. These types of wounds impact nearly 300,000 patients each year, causing significant complications both during the healing process and afterward. The wounds arise from severe burns and other injuries and generally require multiple surgeries with up to 1 month waiting period or longer between surgeries. This adds costs, and the current wound care products in the market really do not address the underlying issues associated with wound care and have a very high rate of failure and potential for post-surgical complications. Facerius's first product, Dermosphere, addresses this problem with a patented microcollagen matrix that demonstrates faster healing times, improved patient outcomes, and has the potential to eliminate the need for the second surgery. The company is going to begin selling Dermosphere in customizable sheets for dermal reconstruction with follow-on products in the future. Facerius has licensed patents from Weill Cornell Medicine and developed its own proprietary processes for formulation and packaging. Small animal studies have been completed and FDA 510K clearance is anticipated in 2024, followed by market launch in 2025. Again, as a part of our due diligence process, the New York Ventures staff and our External Investment Advisory Committee evaluated the company's business plan and growth prospects, as well as the terms of investment, which are outlined in Schedule A of this memo. As a result of this analysis, our staff and the Investment Advisory Committee agree that the market opportunity and growth potential offered by this New York State company warrants an investment and recommends its approval.
And Jennifer, you can go ahead.
Good morning, Hope. Good morning, directors. I'm Jennifer Teagan. I'm the Managing Director of the New York Ventures Program, and I'm going to ask for approval to invest in Onco Precision, Inc., up to $400,000 in their $3 million Safe Note financing round. Onco Precision is an Argentinian company that will be relocating to New York City. It has developed a precision oncology platform that offers in vitro functional assay solutions to identify therapies that have the highest probability of success in cancer treatment. The platform evaluates the efficacy and toxicity of a patient's response to particular treatments prior to their physician and clinician prescribing that treatment. Historically, cancer treatment has not taken into account the likelihood of an individual's response to that treatment. And as many people know, the individual patient response to a specific therapy can vary quite a lot. And it's based on a wide range of factors that are not currently assessed or easily assessed when determining the best options for the patient. This isn't only efficient, but is extremely expensive for the healthcare system, not to mention the resulting loss of lives when inappropriate treatments are delivered to patients who have a limited time to identify one that can help. Onco Precision's technology uses a triple co-culture avatar that uses patient-derived cells, a system control cell, and toxicity control cells in an autologous serum to better mimic a patient's in vitro system. Once that system is exposed to the prescription drugs and combination treatments, it then uses high throughput flow cytometry to determine and evaluate the responses and how best to proceed with therapy for that individual patient. In order to fund the activities of this company over the next 12 to 18 months, including its move to New York City, Onco is raising up to $3 million in a seed round SAFE financing. We would like to invest up to $400,000 into that investment round. It's being led by Creative Ventures, SOSV, and GridX is the other investor, all of whom are experienced life sciences investors. As part of our due diligence, New York Ventures staff and our external investment advisory committee looked at the business plan and growth prospects, as well as the terms of its investment. And as a result of all of that analysis, we recommend that the market opportunity and growth potential offered by Onco Precision warrants an investment by the fund and recommend its approval. Thank you.
Are there any questions or comments from the directors on any of these 4 investments? As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to any of these items. I will now entertain a motion for approval of item 5A, the investment in Elvest, as presented by Momo B.
So
So
moved.
move, Hilda.
Second, Sherry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. I will now entertain a motion for the approval of item 5B, investment in Eckelstinger, as presented by Jonathan Green.
So moved, Benson Martin.
Second.
Second, Michael Rosen.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. I will now entertain a motion for the approval of item 5C, the investment in Viserys Therapeutics, Inc., also presented by Jonathan Green.
So move, Hilda.
Seconded, Cesar Morales.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. I will now entertain a motion for the approval of item 5D, the investment in Onco Precision Corporation, as presented by Jennifer Teagan.
So moved, Benson Martin.
Second.
Second, Michael Rosen.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Now we go back to Doug McPherson, who will present an item related to the Utica Crescent mixed-use project for our consideration. Doug, when you're ready.
For the record, this is Doug McPherson from Real Estate and Planning. Apologies earlier, I tried to unmute when called upon and ended up hanging up the phone, but it's been resolved. I'll be asking the directors to adopt a general project plan for the Utica Crescent mixed-use project, adopt findings pursuant to Section 10 of the UDC Act, make a determination under SECRE that the project will have no significant effect on the environment, and take related actions. These steps would allow ESD to schedule a public hearing on the proposed GPP and thereafter commence a 30-day comment period. The proposed Utica Crescent mixed-use project is the redevelopment of a surface parking lot in East Flatbush owned by Kingsbrook Jewish Medical Center, an affiliate of One Brooklyn Health. Once completed, the proposed project will consist of 322 affordable and supportive housing units, and over 20,000 square foot retail space, a 10,000 square foot ambulatory healthcare facility, 67 subsurface parking spaces, and a community space to be operated by a development team affiliate. The building will be financed with capital from the New York State Housing Finance Agency and will be subject to an HFA regulatory agreement, which will govern housing affordability and leasing of non-residential spaces, among other things. And further details in the building program are included in your materials. The proposed project is part of Vital Brooklyn, a comprehensive New York State development initiative that addresses chronic social, economic, and health disparities in Central Brooklyn through focus on 8 integrated areas of investment: open space and recreation, healthy food, education, economic empowerment, community-based violence prevention, community-based healthcare, affordable housing, and resiliency. The benefits of the specific project include an expanded ambulatory healthcare presence for the One Brooklyn Health System, new wellness-oriented retail along Utica Avenue, and open space accessible to building residents. The general project plan would override local zoning, allowing for more residential units and retail space than currently are allowed under the zoning resolution. An environmental assessment has been prepared and found that there would be no significant environmental effect from the proposed development, and therefore an environmental impact statement is not needed. You'll find further detail on the zoning overrides in your materials, but I'm happy to take any questions now.
I'd like to remind everyone to please state your name before speaking. Are there any questions or comments from the directors with regard to item 6A as presented by Doug McPherson? As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. I will now entertain a motion for approval.
Moved, Michael Rosen.
Second, Benson Martin.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. Now I'd like to turn things over to Scott Lampkin, who will present today's administrative action for your consideration. Scott, please go ahead.
Thank you, Hope. Good morning. I'm Scott Lampkin, a Senior Project Manager in Loans and Grants, and we are requesting the Director's authorization to enter into a contract with Solix Incorporated to administer the tourism grant programs, which includes the $100 million Return to Work program to incentivize employment growth in the tourism industry, and the $25 million Meet in New York program to incentivize the return of conferences, meetings, and trade shows, both of which are part of Governor Hochul's Bring Back Tourism, Bring Back Jobs state recovery package that Hope you mentioned earlier in your report. These programs were both approved by ESD at the December 2021 board meeting. So we sought a third-party grant administrator due to the size of these programs, the high volume of the grants that we are anticipating, and the need to quickly disperse grants as fairly and efficiently as possible. An RFP was posted on January 10th, and a total of 3 proposals were received. And after careful review and scoring, the review committee selected Solix to be the grant administrator for this program. Solix will review and process the applications, vet the grants per eligibility criteria provided by ESD, and implement systems to prevent and identify fraud, and of course disperse grants in an equitable and fair manner. I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. As noted earlier, we do not have any comments from the public with regard to this item. Are there any questions or comments from the directors on this item? May I have a motion for approval of item 6A as presented today by Scott Lampkin?
So moved.
Move the motion. This is Hilda.
Second,
Second, Michael Rosen.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The motion carries. The remaining item on today's agenda was provided to directors for their information, and no presentation will be made. There is no further business. May I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, everyone, for participating in the meeting this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a great day.